Welcome to our channel. We're so excited to have you here. Whether you're just starting your English learning journey or looking for new ways to improve your skills, you're in the right place. In today's video, we're diving into an inspiring story about growth, courage, and the power of learning, no matter how small the steps may seem. So grab a notebook, get comfy, and let's get started on this adventure together. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you never miss out on more helpful lessons. Let's begin. Emma sat in the back of her English class, gripping her notebook tightly. The teacher, Mr. Adams, walked around the room, asking students to introduce themselves in English. Emma's heart pounded. "Next, Emma," Mr. Adams said with a warm smile. Emma looked around. All eyes were on her. She opened her mouth, but no words came out. Her palms were sweaty, her throat felt dry, and she could feel her classmates waiting. I am," she stammered. A few students giggled. Emma's face turned red. She quickly sat down, staring at her desk. After class, she rushed home, feeling frustrated. "Why is English so hard for me?" she whispered. She had studied grammar and vocabulary, but whenever she had to speak, she froze. That evening, she sat in her room, flipping through her English textbook. She loved reading English stories, but speaking was different. She feared making mistakes. She feared being laughed at. Just as she was about to give up, her mother entered the room. "Emma, learning something new takes time. You just need to find the right way," she said gently. Emma sighed. "But how, Mom? Every time I speak, I feel embarrassed." Her mother smiled. "Then maybe you need a different approach." The next day, Emma was about to discover a challenge that would change everything. The next morning, Emma walked into her English class, still thinking about her embarrassing moment the day before. She avoided eye contact with her classmates and hoped Mr. Adams wouldn't call on her again. After the lesson, as students packed their bags, Mr. Adams called out, "Emma, can I talk to you for a moment?" Her stomach twisted. Had she done something wrong? Slowly, she approached his desk. Mr. Adams smiled warmly. "I noticed you were nervous yesterday, but I also know you're a bright student. Tell me, what's stopping you from speaking in class?" Emma hesitated. I don't know. I feel like I will make mistakes, and everyone will laugh." Mr. Adams nodded. "That's a common fear. But do you know the secret to learning English?" She shook her head. He held up his notebook. "Practice, confidence, and making mistakes. Yes, mistakes are part of learning. Every good speaker was once a beginner." Emma sighed. "But how can I get better?" Mr. Adams handed her a small blue notebook. "Here's what I want you to do. Every day, write down 5 new English words and use them in sentences. But there's more. Read them aloud. Speak them to yourself in the mirror. Even if you feel silly, just do it. Small steps lead to big changes." Emma hesitated. "Will that really work?" Mr. Adams chuckled. "Try it for 1 week. If it doesn't help, we'll find another way. But I believe you'll surprise yourself." Emma took the notebook, feeling a mix of doubt and curiosity. That evening, she sat at her desk, flipping through her English book. She wrote down her first 5 words: brave, improve, effort, practice, and success. She whispered each word to herself. "I want to be brave. I will improve my English." Learning takes effort. Practice makes perfect. Success comes from hard work. She looked at the mirror and repeated them again, trying to say them confidently. It felt strange, but she remembered. Mr. Adams' words, "Small steps lead to big changes." Maybe, just maybe, this was the beginning of something new. For the next few days, Emma followed Mr. Adams' advice. Every evening, she wrote 5 new words in her blue notebook, made sentences, and practiced them in front of the mirror. At first, it felt strange. Speaking to her reflection wasn't easy, and sometimes she laughed at herself. But as the days passed, she noticed something. Her pronunciation was improving. Words that once felt difficult now rolled off her tongue more smoothly. One afternoon, while Emma was studying in the school library, her best friend Lily sat next to her. "What are you writing?" Lily asked, peeking at Emma's notebook. Emma hesitated. "Just learning new English words." Lily raised an eyebrow. "You're really trying to improve, huh?" Emma nodded. "I have to. I want to speak better, but I get nervous." Lily smiled. "Then let's practice together. We can talk in English for 5 minutes every day." Emma's eyes widened. "Really? You don't mind?" "Of course not. Friends help each other." That evening, Emma learned 5 more words: conversation, challenge, progress, mistake, and confident. She practiced making sentences and, the next day, used them while talking to Lily. At lunchtime, Lily asked in English, "How is your English practice going?" Emma took a deep breath. "It is a challenge, but I am making progress. Sometimes I make mistakes, but I want to be more confident." Lily clapped. "See? You're already improving." For the first time, Emma felt a spark of confidence. Maybe, just maybe, she could really do this. But soon, she would face her biggest test yet, a moment that would push her out of her comfort zone like never before. A week had passed since Emma started her daily practice, and she was beginning to feel more comfortable with English. She could say new words more easily, and her conversations with Lily were helping her feel less nervous. But there was one thing she still avoided: speaking in class. Every time Mr. Adams asked a question, Emma kept her head down, hoping he wouldn't call on her. Even though she practiced at home, speaking in front of her classmates was terrifying. What if she forgot a word? What if they laughed at her again? One morning, as Emma entered the classroom, she noticed a small announcement on the board: English Speaking Challenge. This Friday, practice your speaking skills in a fun way. Everyone is welcome to join. Emma's heart skipped a beat. An English speaking challenge? She quickly sat down, hoping no one would mention it. But, of course, Lily noticed. "Emma, you should do it," she said excitedly. Emma shook her head. "No way. I'm not ready." Lily crossed her arms. "You've been practicing every day. You're getting better. This is your chance to prove it to yourself." Emma sighed. "Lily, practicing alone is different from speaking in front of people." Before Lily could respond, Mr. Adams walked in. "Good morning, class. As you may have seen, we have an exciting event coming up, our English Speaking Challenge. It's a great way to build confidence and improve your skills. I encourage all of you to participate." Emma sank lower in her seat, hoping to disappear. Then, Mr. Adams looked directly at her. "Emma, I think this would be a fantastic opportunity for you." The whole class turned to look at her. Emma felt her face heat up. I don't know," she mumbled. Mr. Adams smiled. "You don't have to decide now, but I believe in you." Emma spent the rest of the day thinking about it. Deep down, she knew Lily and Mr. Adams were right. She had been working so hard. Was she really going to let fear hold her back? That night, she stared at her reflection in the mirror and whispered, "I can do this." Taking a deep breath, she picked up her notebook and started preparing. Friday was coming fast, and for the first time, Emma was ready to face her fear. Friday arrived faster than Emma expected. As she walked into school, her stomach twisted with nerves. The English speaking challenge would happen in the afternoon, and she still wasn't sure if she had the courage to participate. She had spent the last 2 nights practicing her introduction, writing down sentences and speaking in front of the mirror. She had even practiced with Lily, who cheered her on. But the idea of standing in front of the whole class still terrified her. "Maybe I'll just watch," she told herself as she placed her notebook in her bag. At lunchtime, Emma decided to take a short walk in the park near her school. The fresh air helped her think. As she sat on a bench, she noticed a woman looking at a map, her face full of confusion. Emma hesitated. The woman was clearly a tourist. Should she help? Before she could decide, the woman looked up and asked, "Excuse me, do you speak English?" Emma's heart started pounding. This is it. This is my chance to use what I've learned. She took a deep breath. "Yes, I do. Do you need help?" The woman smiled with relief. "Oh, thank goodness. I'm looking for the city library. I think I'm lost." Emma quickly thought about the directions. She had learned these words before. She just had to trust herself. "The library is 5 minutes from here," she said carefully. "Go straight, then turn left at the second street. You will see it on the right." The woman clapped her hands. "Wow, your English is very good. Thank you so much." Emma felt her face warm up. "Oh, thank you." As the woman walked away, Emma sat back on the bench, her mind spinning. I just had a full conversation in English. She had done it. She had spoken confidently. And it felt amazing. Suddenly, the speaking challenge didn't seem so scary anymore. With a new sense of confidence, Emma stood up, took a deep breath, and whispered, "I'm ready." It was time to prove to herself that she could do this. The moment Emma stepped into the classroom that afternoon, she felt the familiar wave of nervousness wash over her. The desks had been moved to the sides, leaving an open space in the middle where students would stand and speak. A small group had already gathered, chatting excitedly about the challenge. Emma spotted Lily, who waved her over. "You came," she said, grinning. Emma nodded, still unsure. "I don't know if I'm actually going to speak." Before Lily could respond, Mr. Adams clapped his hands. "All right, everyone, welcome to the English Speaking Challenge. Today is all about practicing, making mistakes, and having fun. Remember, every great speaker started somewhere." Emma shifted nervously as the first student stepped forward. A boy named Jason spoke confidently about his favorite video game. Then Sarah talked about her dream of traveling to Paris. One by one, students stood up and spoke. Some stumbled over words, some forgot what to say, but no one laughed. Everyone clapped and encouraged each other. Then Mr. Adams looked around the room. Who would like to go next? Emma's heart pounded. This was it, the moment she had been avoiding. Lily nudged her. "Go on, Emma. You can do this." Emma took a deep breath. Her mind flashed back to the woman in the park. If I could talk to a stranger in English, I can do this. Before she could change her mind, she raised her hand. I'll go." The class turned toward her. Emma's legs felt wobbly as she stood up and walked to the front. Her hands were shaking, but she gripped her notebook tightly. She took a deep breath and began. "My name is Emma, and I used to be afraid of speaking English." Silence filled the room. Everyone was listening. A few weeks ago, I was too scared to speak in class. I thought that making mistakes was bad. But then I started practicing. I learned 5 new words every day. I talked to myself in the mirror, and today I helped a tourist find the library. A few students smiled. Mr. Adams nodded proudly. Emma swallowed her fear and continued, her voice growing stronger. "I still make mistakes, but I learned that mistakes help us grow. And now I want to keep learning, keep speaking, and keep improving." She finished and looked around nervously. For a second, the room was silent. Then, applause. Lily cheered the loudest. Mr. Adams clapped with a proud smile. Emma let out a breath she didn't realize she was holding. She had done it, and in that moment, she knew. This was just the beginning of her journey. After the English speaking challenge, Emma felt a newfound confidence growing inside her. She had spoken in front of her classmates and nothing bad had happened. In fact, it had been the opposite. Her friends had clapped, Lily had hugged her, and Mr. Adams had given her an encouraging nod. For the first time, Emma felt like she was truly improving. The next day, Mr. Adams made an announcement. "Great job to everyone who participated yesterday," he said. "I'm proud of all of you. And now, I have an exciting opportunity for those who want to challenge themselves even more." Emma listened curiously as he continued. "Our school is hosting an English speech contest next month. Any student can participate. It's a chance to improve your skills, build confidence, and, most importantly, have fun." A quiet murmur spread through the class. Some students seemed excited, while others looked unsure. Lily nudged Emma. "You should do it." Emma's eyes widened. "No way! A contest? That's way too scary." Lily grinned. "You said the same thing about the speaking challenge, and look how well you did." Emma hesitated. She had made progress, but a speech contest was different. It wasn't just talking for a few minutes in class. It meant standing on a stage in front of teachers, parents, and students from other grades. Mr. Adams glanced at Emma and smiled. "If anyone is interested, come see me after class." Emma tried to focus for the rest of the lesson, but her mind kept going back and forth. Could she really do this? When the bell rang, she grabbed her bag and started heading toward the door. But then, she stopped. A small voice in her head whispered, "What if you tried?" Taking a deep breath, she turned around and walked straight to Mr. Adams' desk. I want to try," she said. Mr. Adams' face lit up. "That's fantastic, Emma. I know you'll do great." He handed her a flyer with the contest details. "Start thinking about what you want to talk about. Choose something meaningful to you. We'll work on it together." Emma took the flyer and nodded. As she walked out of the classroom, her heart was pounding. Not with fear this time, but with excitement. She had just signed up for the biggest challenge of her life, and she was ready to face it. As the weeks passed, Emma focused on preparing for the English speech contest. She spent her evenings writing and rewriting her speech, carefully choosing words she knew well and practicing how to pronounce them. She'd even added personal stories to make her speech more interesting. But despite her hard work, the closer the contest got, the more her nerves grew. Every time she stood in front of the mirror to practice, she felt a knot in her stomach. She would rehearse her speech and then feel uncertain. Was she making sense? Were her sentences clear enough? One evening, as she was practicing in her room, she looked in the mirror and hesitated. She had been practicing for hours, and it still didn't feel perfect. "I'm never going to be ready," she muttered, her shoulders slumping. She sat down on her bed, feeling overwhelmed. It was supposed to be an exciting challenge, but now it felt like the weight of the whole contest was pressing down on her. What if she forgot her lines? What if she made a huge mistake in front of everyone? Just then, her phone buzzed. It was a message from Lily. "Hey, don't forget to breathe. You've been working so hard and you're doing great. You've already come so far." Emma smiled weakly, but the doubt still lingered. That weekend, she met with Mr. Adams for a practice session. He was always encouraging, but this time she wasn't so sure of herself. "All right, Emma, let's hear your speech," Mr. Adams said. Emma cleared her throat and started. "My name is Emma, and today I want to talk about the importance of never giving up." As she spoke, she could feel herself stumbling over words, her hands shaking. She paused, trying to find the right words. Mr. Adams noticed and raised his hand. "Take a breath, Emma. It's okay. You're doing fine." Emma looked down at her notes, her heart racing. "I can't do this, Mr. Adams. I'm so nervous. I'm afraid I'll mess up." Mr. Adams smiled gently. "Nerves are normal, but you're not going to mess up. Everyone makes mistakes, even the best speakers. What matters is that you keep going." He leaned in, his voice warm and reassuring. "Think about why you're doing this. You've worked so hard to get here. This contest is just another step in your journey. No matter what happens, you've already accomplished something amazing." Emma took a deep breath, trying to calm herself. She had been practicing for weeks, and she had made so much progress. But still, a small voice inside her kept saying, "What if I fail?" Mr. Adams seemed to sense her hesitation. "Emma, there's no such thing as failing when you're learning. You've already shown incredible courage by signing up for this contest. The rest is just about sharing your story. So go out there and do your best. That's all anyone will expect from you." Emma smiled, feeling a little lighter. Mr. Adams was right. The real victory wasn't in winning. It was in the journey. With renewed determination, Emma promised herself that she would give it everything she had, no matter what happened. The night before the English speech contest, Emma could barely sleep. She tossed and turned in her bed, her mind running through every line of her speech, imagining every possible mistake. The contest was tomorrow, and despite all her practice, the fear hadn't gone away. It was only stronger now, like a heavy weight pressing on her chest. She glanced at the clock. 3:30 a.m. She had been awake for hours. She got out of bed and walked over to her desk, staring at the words on the paper. "Never give up. Keep trying." She had written these words as a reminder of what her speech was about, but right now they felt harder to believe than ever. Suddenly, there was a knock at her door. "Emma?" Her mom's voice was soft, gentle. "Are you okay?" Emma sat down at her desk and sighed. "I can't sleep. I keep thinking about the speech contest and I'm so nervous. What if I forget everything? What if I embarrass myself?" Her mom walked into the room and sat beside her. "You've been working so hard, Emma. I'm so proud of you. But remember, it's okay to be nervous. What you're feeling is normal. The important thing is that you're doing it anyway." Emma looked at her mom, her eyes filled with doubt. "But what if I'm not good enough?" Her mom smiled and took her hand. "Emma, you've already proven something incredible. You faced your fear and kept going, even when it was hard. That is success. The contest is just another step forward, no matter how it goes." Emma nodded, feeling comforted by her mom's words. "I guess I've come a long way." Her mom kissed her forehead. "You have, and you'll keep going, no matter what happens tomorrow. You're brave, Emma. Don't forget that." With her mom's reassurance, Emma felt a little calmer. She closed her eyes, took a deep breath, and whispered to herself, "I can do this." The next morning, the day of the contest, Emma woke up early. She went over her speech one last time, speaking the words out loud. This time, she felt a little less anxious. She dressed carefully, putting on her best outfit, and tried to focus on the excitement of sharing what she had learned. When she arrived at school, the gymnasium was buzzing with energy. Students were running around, talking, and preparing for the contest. A big stage had been set up at the front with microphones and bright lights shining down. Emma took a deep breath as she walked into the room. She spotted Lily immediately. "Emma, you're here," Lily said, giving her a hug. "I'm so nervous," Emma admitted. Lily grinned. "You've got this. I know you'll do amazing." Emma smiled back, feeling a small spark of courage. Maybe it wasn't about being perfect. It was about sharing her story. She had practiced for this moment. Now it was time to show what she could do. The contest began, and one by one, students went up to the stage. Emma watched them speak with confidence, but every time her turn got closer, her stomach twisted with nerves. Finally, Mr. Adams called her name. "Emma, it's your turn." Emma stood up, feeling like her legs were made of jelly. She walked slowly toward the stage, taking one step at a time. When she reached the microphone, she looked out into the audience. Her parents were sitting in the front row, smiling and waving at her. Lily gave her a thumbs up from the back. She took a deep breath, remembering her mom's words. "You're brave, Emma." With that in her heart, Emma began. "My name is Emma, and today I want to talk about something I've learned during this journey of learning English: the importance of never giving up." Her voice was steady, not perfect, but full of determination. She spoke about the fear she had felt at the beginning of the school year, how hard it had been to speak in front of people, and how she had started to believe in herself by taking small steps every day. She talked about practicing in the mirror, speaking to Lily, and even helping a tourist in the park. "I'm still learning," Emma said, her voice growing stronger. "But I've learned that mistakes don't mean failure. Mistakes are part of learning. They help us grow. And the most important lesson I've learned is that if you keep going, even when it feels hard, you'll get better. You'll succeed." As she finished, Emma looked out at the audience. Her heart was racing, but she felt proud. She had shared her story. She had faced her fear and done her best. The room was silent for a moment, and then the audience erupted in applause. Emma's heart swelled with happiness. She had done it. The applause was overwhelming. Emma stood at the front of the stage, her heart pounding, but this time it wasn't from fear. It was from excitement, pure, joyful excitement. She had done it. As she made her way back to her seat, she couldn't stop smiling. She felt lighter, freer, as if a weight had been lifted off her shoulders. She had faced her biggest fear and spoken in front of a crowd, and she hadn't just survived. She had thrived. When the contest was over, everyone gathered in the hall for the awards ceremony. Emma sat with Lily, her hands still shaking a little, but not from nerves anymore. She felt proud. Mr. Adams stood at the front of the room. "Thank you to everyone who participated today. You all did an amazing job. The courage and determination you've shown are truly inspiring. Now, I'll announce the winners." Emma's mind wandered for a moment. She hadn't expected to win anything. Her real victory was in facing her fear and giving her best. But then Mr. Adams smiled and said, "First place goes to Emma." Emma's eyes widened. She couldn't believe it. She stood up, stunned as the room erupted into applause once again. Her heart skipped a beat as she walked to the front to accept the small trophy Mr. Adams handed her. I won?" Emma whispered, still in disbelief. Mr. Adams chuckled. "Yes, Emma. You did more than win the contest. You won over your own fears. And that's the most important victory of all." Emma smiled, her chest swelling with pride. This wasn't just about winning a trophy. It was about everything she had learned along the way. The hard work, the dedication, and the courage to keep moving forward even when it felt impossible. When the ceremony ended, Lily hugged Emma tightly. "I knew you could do it." "Thank you for believing in me," Emma said, her voice thick with emotion. Later that day, when Emma got home, her mom was waiting for her with a huge smile. "So, how did it go?" Emma grinned and held up her trophy. "I won." Her mom's eyes sparkled with pride. "I knew you would. But remember, the real prize isn't the trophy. It's the person you've become. You faced your fear. You worked hard, and you grew. That's what matters most." Emma looked at the trophy in her hands. It was shiny, but what mattered more was the journey she had taken to get here. Every step, every mistake, every practice session had been part of something bigger than just winning. It had been a journey of growth, of belief, and of courage. And that, Emma realized, was the true victory. As she sat down with her mom to talk about the contest, Emma couldn't help but feel a deep sense of pride. She had not only learned English, but she had learned something even more important: how to face her fears and keep going, no matter what. And that was a lesson she would carry with her forever. After the speech contest, Emma felt like a different person. The fear that had once held her back seemed far away now. It wasn't that the fear was completely gone. Rather, Emma had learned how to face it, how to use it to push herself forward instead of letting it stop her. School felt different, too. Emma found herself volunteering to answer questions in class without the usual anxiety. When Mr. Adams asked her to give a short presentation about a book she had read, Emma didn't hesitate. She stood up, took a deep breath, and spoke confidently. Her classmates were amazed at how far she had come. "You've changed, Emma," Lily said one day after class. "You used to be so shy. Now you're one of the most confident people I know." Emma smiled, feeling a sense of pride that she hadn't experienced before. It's all about believing in yourself, even when it feels hard. As the weeks passed, Emma continued to practice her English. She kept adding new words to her vocabulary, spoke with her classmates more, and even helped some of them with their own English homework. It felt good to know that she was no longer afraid of making mistakes. One afternoon, Mr. Adams pulled Emma aside after class. "I've been thinking, Emma," he said with a smile. "I'm so proud of the progress you've made. I think you have the potential to be a great public speaker. How would you feel about leading a small English club at school? You could help other students who are nervous about speaking in front of others." Emma's eyes widened. "Me? Lead? A club?" Mr. Adams nodded. "Yes, you've come so far, and you have the experience to help others who are just starting their journey." Emma felt a rush of excitement mixed with nervousness. She had never imagined herself in that position. But she had also learned something important. When an opportunity comes, it's okay to take a chance. "I'd love to do that," she said, feeling more confident than ever. That afternoon, Emma started planning for her first English club meeting. She would teach students about building confidence when speaking, just like she had learned to do. It was a huge responsibility, but Emma knew she was ready for the challenge. The first meeting of the English club was a success. Emma shared her own story, just as she had done in the contest, and encouraged the students to practice their speaking, without fear of making mistakes. She made sure everyone felt comfortable, showing them that it was okay to take small steps toward improvement. As the weeks passed, more and more students joined the club. Some were shy at first, but they slowly began to open up, just like Emma had. They practiced speaking English, shared their stories, and supported each other in a way that made Emma feel proud. One afternoon, as Emma looked around the room at the students practicing together, she realized how far she had come. She was no longer just a student trying to learn a new language. She was now a teacher, helping others face their own fears. She smiled to herself, thinking about everything she had learned. The journey wasn't easy, but it had been worth every moment. And as she stood there, surrounded by her friends and classmates, Emma realized that this was just the beginning of a whole new chapter in her life. The world was full of opportunities, and Emma was ready to face them all. As the months passed, Emma's confidence continued to grow. The English club she had started became more than just a place for practice. It became a community. A group of students who were once afraid to speak, just like Emma, were now standing in front of each other, sharing their thoughts and stories, with pride. Emma realized that it wasn't just about language anymore, it was about empowering each other. She watched as her classmates, once shy and unsure, transformed into speakers who stood tall, who believed in their abilities. And she knew that she had played a part in helping them get there. One afternoon, after another successful club meeting, Lily pulled Emma aside. "I have to say, I'm really proud of you. You've changed so much, and now you're helping others do the same. You've come a long way from the shy girl who wouldn't even speak in front of a few people." Emma smiled, her heart full. "I guess I've realized that every step I take, even the small ones, helps me grow. And I want to keep growing." A few weeks later, the school year ended, and Emma stood on the stage once again. This time, not as a nervous speaker, but as a confident leader. She had been asked to give a speech at the year-end ceremony, a chance to reflect on her journey and encourage her classmates. As she walked up to the microphone, Emma felt a wave of calm wash over her. She looked out at the sea of faces, teachers, friends, and students who had seen her grow, and she began to speak. Hello, everyone. My name is Emma, and I want to share a few words with you today. When I first started this year, I was afraid. I was afraid of speaking, of making mistakes, of failing. But over the months, I've learned something important. We're all on a journey, and the only way to move forward is to keep taking those steps, even if they're small. Every mistake is just a lesson in disguise, and every challenge is an opportunity to grow. She paused, looking at her friends, her teachers, her family. None of us can achieve greatness alone. We need each other. We need the courage to try, the support to keep going, and the belief that we can always improve. The audience was silent, listening intently, and Emma knew that she had said everything she needed to say. When she finished, the room erupted into applause. But this time, it wasn't about a contest or a trophy. It was about the growth she had experienced, the courage she had found, and the impact she had made. As Emma stepped down from the stage, she felt a sense of peace. She had completed one chapter of her journey, but she knew there were many more. Ahead. She wasn't just learning English anymore, she was learning about herself, about the world, and about the power of persistence. The story didn't end here. It was only just beginning, and Emma was ready for whatever came next. Thank you for watching. Emma's journey reminds us that learning a language, or any new skill, is all about persistence, courage, and believing in yourself. No matter where you are in your English learning journey, remember that every small step counts. Keep practicing, stay confident, and never be afraid to make mistakes, because that's how we grow. If you found this story inspiring, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and hit the notification bell so you never miss out on more amazing content. Let us know in the comments, what's the biggest challenge you faced while learning English? We'd love to hear your story. See you in the next video.